Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Ajay Solkhe, presently working as Assistant Professor, University School of Management, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, Haryana. This module deals with the provisions relating to sexual harassment at workplace in India. Upon completion of the module, the student should be able to understand the concept, status, significance of sexual harassment at workplace in India, legal measures, and certain guidelines on sexual harassment. Major legal provisions of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. Across the globe today, workplace sexual harassment is increasingly understood as a violation of women's rights and a form of violence against women. But what exactly is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment at workplace includes unwelcome sexually determined behavior such as physical contact and advances, demand or request for sexual favors, sexually colored remarks, showing pornography, any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. With regard to the relevant laws on sexual harassment, we have certain provisions contained in Indian Constitution, Indian Penal Code 1860, Law of Torts, and the Vishakha's Judgment Guidelines. And lastly, the Protection of Women Against Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. Very first of all, sexual harassment in Indian Constitution. Some of the provisions are contained in fundamental rights. Article 14, that is equality before law. Article 15, right to non-discrimination. Article 15, subsection 1, the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. Article 15.3, the state shall make any special provision in favor of women and children. Article 16.1, right to equal opportunities in employment to any office under the state. Article 16.2, no citizen shall on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth, residence, or any of them be ineligible for or discriminated against in respect of any employment or office under the state. Article 19.1g, right to practice any profession or to carry out any occupation, trade, or business. Article 21, right to life. Article 32, remedies for enforcement of right. As far as directive principles of the state policies are concerned, Article 42 also states that state shall make provision for securing just and humane conditions of work and maternity relief. Fundamental duty of Article 51A, it is the duty of every citizen to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions. Article 51AE, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all of the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. With respect to the sexual harassment and the Indian Penal Code, Section 295 of the IPC deals with obscene acts and songs at public place. Section 354 deals with assault or criminal force against women. Section 376 deals with rape. Section 509 deals with uttering words or making gestures which outrages a woman's modesty. India's innovative history in tackling workplace sexual harassment began with Vishakha guidelines, and subsequently legislation has given critical visibility to the issue. Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 was enacted to ensure safe working space for women and to build working environment that respect women's rights to equality of status and opportunity. Before 97, no formal guidelines on how an employer should deal with cases of sexual harassment of women at workplace. In 1997, the Supreme Court passed a landmark judgment in Vishakha case, laying down certain guidelines to be followed by establishment in dealing with complaints about sexual harassment, called as Vishakha's guidelines. After 1997, Lok Sabha on 3rd September 2012 passed Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Bill, which was later passed by Rajya Sabha on 26 February 2013. The bill got presidential assent on 23rd April 2013 and finally Act came into force on 9th December 2013. What happened that Supreme Court need to pass the Vishakha's guidelines? During the 1990s, Rajasthan state government employee Bhavri Devi, who tried to prevent child marriage as a part of her duty as a worker of the Women Development Program, was raped by landlords of the community. The rape survivor did not get justice from Rajasthan High Court, and the rapists were allowed to go free. This enraged a women's rights group called Vishakha that filed a PIL, public interest litigation, in the Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court Vishakha Guidelines 1997. Supreme Court in 1997 have given the guidelines for prevention of sexual harassment at workplace on 7 grounds. One is general definition of sexual harassment was given. 2. Duty of the employer or other responsible person in workplaces or other institutions to prevent or deter the commission of acts of sexual harassment. 3. All employers or person in charge of workplace, whether in public or private sector, should take appropriate steps to prevent sexual harassment. 4th, where such conduct amounts to a specific offence under the IPC or under any other law, the employer shall initiate appropriate action in accordance with law by making a complaint with the appropriate authority. 5th, where such conduct amounts to misconduct in employment as defined by the relevant service rules, appropriate disciplinary action should be initiated by the employer in accordance with those rules. An appropriate complaint mechanism should be created in the employer's organization for redress of the complaint made by the victim, that is, constitute complaints committee, provide a special counselor or other support service, and maintain of confidentiality. 7th, awareness of the rights of the female employees in this regard should be created, in particular by prominently notifying the guidelines. The detailed guidelines has been discussed in the quadrant number 1. Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal, 2013. The background of the Act. In year 2007, draft guidelines was approved and by the Union Cabinet. In 2010, bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. In 2012, Lok Sabha passed the bill. In 2013, Rajya Sabha passed the bill. In 2013, it received the presidential assent and published in official gazette and came out with Sexual Harassment Act 2013. Looking at the chapters of the Act, Chapter 1 deals with preliminary information. Chapter 2 talks about constitution of internal complaints committee by an employer. Chapter 3 deals with constitution of local complaints committee by a district officer. Chapter 4 talks about complaint. Chapter 5 throws light on inquiry into complaint. Chapter 6 deals with duties of employer. Chapter 7 deals with duties and powers of district officer, and Chapter 7 contains some miscellaneous provisions. Regarding applicability of the Act, it extends to whole of India, and this Act is applicable whosoever organization is having more than 10 employees. Who can be aggrieved person? Anyone who is a female, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the status, single, married or divorced, whether an employee of the organization or an outsider. What are the various types of sexual harassment? There are so many types of sexual harassment. Looking at all these aspects, very first is making sexually colored remarks, demand or a request for sexual favors, threat about employment status, promise for preferential treatment, detrimental treatment, humiliating treatment which affects our health, offensive or hostile environment, physical contact and advances, unwanted physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature, showing pornography. All these aspects are considered as the various types of sexual harassment. Internal Complaint Committee ICC. Employer with more than 10 employees in writing shall pass an order to create Internal Complaints Committee at all branches and act on its recommendation. At least half of the committee members shall be women. ICC contains a minimum of 4 members. One is a presiding officer, she must be a woman. There are 3 other members. One person from NGO committed to the cause of women or familiar with issues relating to sexual harassment on allowance basis. Local Complaints Committee. District officer shall create local complaint committee to receive complaints from where internal complaint committee has not been constituted due to less than 10 employees in the organization. If the complaint is against the employer Nodal officer received the LCC within 7 days. Regarding the constitution of the local complaints committee, 5 members needs to be there. Must be a woman, chairperson who should be eminent social person working for the cause of the woman, working in the nearby area, belonging to the schedule, caste or tribe or backward. Conclusively, 3 persons, that is the chairperson, the localites and the person belonging to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe or backward class, they must be women. Regarding the ex officio person, concerned officer dealing with social welfare or women and child development in the area, and the person who is having a law or legal knowledge, they may or may not be women. Tenure of the committee members. The presiding officer or the chairperson and other members of the internal complaints committee and local complaint committee shall hold office for such period not exceeding 3 years from the date of appointment as prescribed by the employer or the district officer as the case may be. Who cannot be a part of the committee? A person who contravenes section 16, a person who is convicted for an offence or inquiry under any law is time being pending against him or her, a person who has been found guilty or disciplinary proceeding is pending against her, a person who has abused his or her position as to render his continuance in office prejudicial to the public interest. Complaint. Complaint need to make in writing 6 copies of the complaint along with supporting documents with the name and address of the witnesses within 3 months of the incident or from the last instance in case of series of incidents. The committee shall assist the aggrieved person to make the complaint in writing. The committee can extend the time for filing complaint if it is satisfied with the reason for the delay. If she is unable to do so due to mental or physical incapacity, then the legal heir or the person as may be prescribed may make a complaint under this section. Period to which the complaint needs to be set off. Within 3 months of the last instance, aggrieved shall give written complaint. The complaint needs to be disposed of within 7 days when the committee shall send a copy of the complaint to the respondent. Within 10 days from the receipt of the complaint, respondent shall file a reply along with the documents, name and address of the witnesses. Within reasonable time period when the committee shall give the recommendation. Within 90 days of an appeal can be filed against the recommendation. Complaint settlement through conciliation. At the request of the aggrieved woman, take steps to settle the matter between her and the respondent through conciliation before making an inquiry. Though no monetary settlement shall be considered post settlement, ICC or LCC shall record the settlement, send the same to the employer or the district officer to take action as specified in the recommendation. Committee shall also provide the copies of the recorded statement to the aggrieved woman and the respondent. Where a settlement has arrived, no further inquiry shall be made by the committee. Inquiry into complaint. In case the respondent is an employee, the committee shall proceed in accordance with the service rules. Where not available or applicable, shall forward the complaint to the police under 509 of the Indian Penal Code and relevant provisions within 7 days if prima facie case exists. Also, if the complainant informs the committee that any terms or condition of the settlement has not been complied, then the committee proceeds to make an inquiry or forward the complaint to the police. If both are employees, then opportunity to be heard shall be given equally. Inquiry into complaint. Notwithstanding anything contained in section 509 of the Penal Code may direct the respondent to pay sums as it may appropriate to the aggrieved woman having regard to section 15. During the pendency of an inquiry, the committee may recommend transfer the aggrieved woman or the respondent to new workplace, grant leave to the aggrieved up to a period of 3 months, which shall be in addition to the leave entitled to her, grant any other leave as may be prescribed. Employer shall implement upon the recommendation and send a report to the committee. Inquiry report. Within 10 days of the completion of the inquiry, the committee shall provide a report to the employer or district officer as the case may be and should be available to the concerned parties. If the committee arrives at the conclusion that the allegation has not been proved, it shall recommend to take no action. Respondent proved guilty. If the respondent prove guilty, take action in accordance with the provisions of the service rules applicable, where no such rules has been made in such manner as prescribed, to deduct from the salary or wages or direct such sum as it may consider appropriate to be paid to the aggrieved party or her legal heirs in accordance with section 15. The concerned authority shall act upon the recommendation within 60 days of its receipt. If allegation proved to be wrong, if false complaint made or any forged document being produced, the committee may recommend to take action as per the service rules or as otherwise prescribed. But if the complainant is unable to provide adequate proof, then no action has to be taken. The malicious intent shall be established after an inquiry in accordance has been made with the prescribed procedure. Committee arrives at a conclusion that during inquiry false evidence has been produced, then it may recommend action against the witness as per service rule or as prescribed. Section 15, determining of sums to be paid. Committee shall need to have regard to the mental trauma, pain, suffering and emotional distress caused to the aggrieved, the loss in the career opportunity, the medical expenses incurred post the incident, income and financial status of the respondent, feasibility of such payment in installment or in lump sum. Section 16, maintenance of secrecy. Notwithstanding anything contained in the Right to Information Act, the complaint, identity and address of aggrieved, respondent and witness, information relating to the conciliation, inquiry and recommendation by the committee, action taken by employer or district officer shall not be published, communicated or made known public in media in any manner. Duties of employer. Safe working environment and safety from persons coming into contact at the workplace. Display the penal consequences of sexual harassment. Order constituting the committee needs to be displayed at the conspicuous places in the organization. Organize workshops and awareness programs at regular intervals. Providing necessary facilities to the committee for dealing with complaint and conducting an inquiry. Assist in securing the attendance of witness and respondent before the committee. Duties of employer. It is the duty of the employer to make such information available to the committee as it may require in accordance with the complaint lodged. Provide assistance to the aggrieved if she wishes to file the complaint under IPC or any other law in force. Treat sexual harassment as a misconduct under service rules and initiate action for such misconduct. Monitor timely submission of report by the ICC. Cause to initiate action under the penal code against the perpetrator in the workplace where the incident took place. What are the duties of the district officer? District officer is meant for monitoring the timely submission of reports furnished by the LCC. Take such measures as may be necessary for engaging NGO for creation of awareness on sexual harassment and the rights of the woman. Non-compliance of the Act. Monetary penalty of up to maximum of ₹50,000 may be imposed. Repetition of the same could result in punishment being doubled or deregistration of the entity or revocation of any statutory business licenses. With regard to some miscellaneous provisions, the committee in such form at such time as prescribed an annual report and submit the same to the employer or the district officer. District officer shall submit the brief report on annual report to the state government. The employer in his annual return shall include the number of cases filed, if any, and the disposal under this Act. Where no such report is required to be prepared, intimate such number of cases to the district officer. The appropriate government shall monitor the implementation of this Act and shall maintain data on the number of cases filed, disposed in respect of all cases of sexual harassment at workplace. Friends, I hope you have understood the contents of the Sexual Harassment Act and the related provisions. You can also refer to other quadrants of this module for testing your knowledge and having some more input on theme of the module. Happy learning!